After making $350 million at the box office last August with Alien Romulus, the Alien franchise is for the first time headed to the small screen with the new TV show Alien Earth. Tonight, folks, we are taking a look at the series premiere, Wonderland. Stay tuned. Everybody, welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Like I mentioned tonight, we're going to be talking this series premiere of Alien Earth. Of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button no matter where you are tuning in. We got a lot of great content up on the channel right now, including reviews for a lot of the other entries in the Alien franchise. And at the end of the episode, I'm going to tell you about some of the other great stuff I have coming up here on the show this week. So hit subscribe, hit follow wherever you are checking this out. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump right on into things here with the series premiere, Wonderland. Earth and the solar system are now controlled by 5 corporations, including the recently founded Prodigy Corporation. When the USCSS Maginot, a Weyland-Yutani research vessel, crashes in the New Siam, Prodigy CEO Boy Cavalier sends a team to secure the contents. Unfortunately for everyone, the now loose contents of the ship include a number of alien organisms such as a facehugger egg and a now fully grown xenomorph. Now, the Alien franchise has been highly debated for almost 40 years at this point. Why go TV? If we want to compare it maybe like to the Predator franchise, which is making its own resurgence here, Predator has done a number of films in the last 15 years at this point. It hasn't really done the whole small screen thing, and yet and still, Predator is now getting some of the best reviews of the entire franchise. So again, why TV? Now, we've heard the creator of this show, Noah Hawley, has stated he didn't want to get tied up with all of the continuity and the mythology that all the various films have brought in over the last 40 plus years. And it does get really convoluted. But if you're coming in new to this franchise, you want to be able to approach it with the least amount of information possible, especially for a TV show. I know a lot of you are gonna be like, no, do the homework if you're a fan, but these aren't fans we're talking about. We are talking about new people who want to be able to just come into a show. And if you are a fan, now you don't have to pick and choose. You only need to know certain bits of information here. You need to know what a xenomorph is, you need to know what a facehugger egg is, and you probably should know the name Weyland-Yutani. Outside of that, you don't really need to know much else, which is made abundantly clear from this series premiere. And I love that because while I, yes, would love to see a follow-up, something more specific to Alien Covenant, I'm likely not going to get that. And I'm not going to be that person who just swears everything off moving forward until we finish that story. No, I want more Alien. I need more in this world. So I'm going to get on board with what Hawley is doing. And what I will say here, before I start jumping in a little bit more about the story, what I will say is that thus far, I didn't see anything in this episode that seemed like it was a hard contradiction of Prometheus, of Alien Covenant, of Alien Romulus. You know, the Alien franchise can never claim that it hasn't tried to tell new stories every single time. I mean, they've had a different message and a number of different angles you can look at all these films each time a new one has been released. And one prevalent one that has been there across the grand majority of these, is motherhood. Whether we're focusing in on the character of Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver across 4 films, and the interactions she's had with various child figures in her life, whether it's her own daughter and the loss of relationship with her, the relationship with Newt, her surrogate daughter, who she loses as well too, the relationship with Call that she gets in Alien Resurrection. That's a big part of it. Obviously, the aliens themselves, whether it's the queen, the fact that they gestate the alien itself inside a human body and has to burst its way out, killing them, but obviously the allusion there to normal pregnancy and the dangers and the risk and the pain and everything that goes with that. There's always been commentary on motherhood. It is a central theme of the Alien franchise. Now, as for the story of Wonderland here, our main character we're following around is Wendy. Wendy is the first successful hybrid that at one time was a terminally ill 11-year-old named Marcy. The Prodigy Corporation has come up with this new creation called hybrids, to where you use a synthetic body like Bishop, like David, that we're experienced with here in this franchise, but rather than have them have that artificial intelligence and then everything goes bad, Ash, we have bad experiences with that, of course, but rather than do that, you take a human consciousness and you implant that into the body. The whole idea of it and experiencing childhood is the fact that Marcy, this terminally ill 11-year-old, gets placed into this hybrid body that's clearly an adult. So she's looking through these eyes and experiencing the looks that people give her, the interactions that folks are having as a human. But the fact is that she's missed out on probably 10 years or so of experiences and growing up that she would normally get to really be right in this body. I'm excited to see the way that Earth explores that, because we see Marcy is still holding on to a number of things in her past. Her relationship she has with her brother Joe, played by Alex Lothar, shows to be very, very important to her. It's the only family that she has left here. And then we also can see some of the connections she has to like childlike material, like the fact that Boy Cavalier has these kids staying up to date on Peter Pan, whether it's the book, whether it's the old Disney film, whether it's their names themselves. Like Wendy herself is Wendy Darling from Peter Pan. These other hybrids that get made after Wendy's a success, there's Curly and Nibs and Smee. I'd love to see who Hook is going to end up being. It seems so fitting that Hook would be the actual allegory here that we'd want to use in this place, because if you haven't seen Hook before, Hook is basically a sequel to Peter Pan, to where we're watching grown up Peter Pan, who's forgotten everything about Neverland and his childhood and all these great experiences that he had. He went out and did the real life thing, and his life, it's not miserable, but he doesn't really have that fun anymore. He doesn't have that childlike wonder that he once had there. And he has to rediscover that and love for his kids and his wife and all these things. And I don't know, it does kind of seem, I'm not crazy, right, to think that the Peter Pan allegory fits here. But man, Hook would have been a great opportunity to make some allusions to that, because that seems right on the money here of what's happening with Wendy. Sydney Chandler, who plays Wendy in this, amazing. I'm excited to see how this performance evolves and how Wendy herself evolves over this season, because again, we're watching an 11-year-old and we know she's going to end up having interactions with her brother Joe. And Joe is a medic working for the Prodigy Corporation that also gets sent to the Maginot's crash to go and investigate. And again, by all the bad stuff that's happening there, they're obviously going to reconnect. But I'm very interested in the long term to see what the plan is here for Wendy, because I have to imagine that the grand majority of this first season is going to be taking place within a matter of 2 to 3 days, maybe a week total at that point. So we can't really see much more out of fear and responsibility and braveness coming from Wendy, and maybe coming to terms with her own body's death and what that really means for her, and the loss again of this time, that even though she's 11, she's not really 11 anymore. I don't know if we're going to be able to deal with anything more than that over the first season of this show. But if Earth does end up going multiple seasons, I would love to see how they approach her just trying to live this life. It seems very clear that Boy Cavalier has a very specific purpose made for Wendy and the other hybrids. And right now they serve a purpose to where they're the ones being sent to go contain the Maginot and go help out with things that are going on there, contain all the specimens that are there, like claim it for Boy Cavalier and the Prodigy Corporation. But you have to imagine, if they even have the slightest success with that, what other stuff are they going to be assigned to do? And when do they start getting assignments that, what we've seen with these corporations in the Alien franchise, are never good? When is she going to start being given assassination missions with this? Now, if you're wondering about the action and horror elements of the show, first of all, we see the xenomorph fairly quickly on in this, because Even though most of this is obviously taking place on Earth, hence the name itself, the Magnet is introduced to us with this being a research vessel and the crew on board. Obviously, there are some very heavy allusions, homages, whatever you want to call them, to the Nostromo and the crew of the original Alien, both in terms of look and just the things that ultimately end up happening to them. I thought it is a great choice for storytelling to show as we kind of go through them the various ways that these crew members are going to die, because we're not focused on them at all. That's always been the case of all of these Alien films, that we're focusing on the crew of the ship, and that's obviously not at work here with Alien Earth. We have a wider net of characters that we're going to be following along. These guys are just ultimately the vessel in order to get all these various different aliens back to Earth. And it's not just the xenomorph, which it makes this even more interesting. We see there are a number of other aliens on board this ship being taken back, and some of which we even see in this first episode are just as deadly in their own way. That is a perfect way to keep expanding this franchise, because while I think the xenomorph, even just one xenomorph, can still be an effective storytelling device in this franchise, I think it's also kind of silly to think that Prometheus and Covenant are really the only two films that have explored the idea of, well, if there's this one alien, like this creature, I call it's the xenomorph, I know, but if there's this one alien out there, why would there not be other aliens out there? Love the fact that Holly wanted to make sure that we have other things that we have to worry about in this world as well. And it makes me wonder, are we going to get a xenomorph versus another alien fight? So curious about that. Also curious whether or not the facehuggers are going to start implanting other animals, kind of like what we get again in Alien 3. So seeing an alien attack the crew of the Magnet, and know that now that Cavalier's team of hybrids are being sent to the Magnet to go and contain this situation, we know there's absolutely going to be more blood happening in this show. So I'm excited to see the way they dive into that. I want more scares for it for sure, because that's one thing that I feel probably has been missing from the Alien franchise in a while at this point. Folks, we're only going to have 8 episodes here of this first season. I have to imagine, even with a hefty price tag on it, the plan is probably to go at least 2 or 3 seasons at this point as well too. So we're going to stay up with this, and obviously in the coming months we're going to have a lot more to talk about in the Alien franchise as well, with Alien Romulus 2, and what we are all pretty much expecting that by the end of the year we're going to find out about a new Alien versus Predator movie coming out as well. So there is a lot going on in this world that's for good. Well, it's hard to say that Alien Earth is going to be a rousing success by the end of the season. I think this first episode, Wonderland, does a good job of continuing again to move the franchise in the right direction, give us interesting characters, still bring the xenomorph back, but give us other creatures to be worried about as well too. I'm excited to see where this all goes. So let me know in the comment section what you thought here of the season premiere of Alien Earth. And of course, make sure to hit that subscribe and that follow button no matter where you are tuning in, because we're going to stay with the show all season long. The best way to do that is to get subscribed to my link tree at linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to be access to the YouTube page with video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for a written review and movie ranking throughout the year, my TikTok page for short horror content including movie news and movie premieres, to my Twitch page for horror gaming including Phasmophobia, and my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, y'all. Hit that subscribe button. Got a lot of great stuff coming up here for you, including a number of films from Fright Fest. So you do not want to miss any of that at all, folks. Stay tuned, because next week when we are talking episode 2, Mr. October, I'm going to tell you about a way you can win the A is for Alien Little Golden Book. So don't miss out on your chance for that, folks. But that's going to do it for me tonight. My name is T. We'll be talking scary movies. Stay scared.